Hey everybody, Adam here to talk about some of the stuff that's going on at the Lone Star Open coming up this week. At the time of this recording, it is Monday morning for me. Just a reminder for everybody that is attending the Lone Star Open that for the 40K event, especially, that the lists are due tonight by 11:59 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So be sure those lists are in. If you are having issues with your list or you're still not showing as registered, and if you show proof of registration, you can send me an email at headjudge@frontlinegaming.org. I'll leave uh, the email in the description below, but just email again, headjudge@frontlinegaming.org, and I'll take care of it. And if you need any list corrections or things like that, or if you find out your list is wrong, I can take care of that too. Just let me know. Depending on the situation, lists won't go live until Wednesday morning. So if you make any changes before then, it's usually okay. Just be sure to let me know, and there won't be any penalty for changing your list. Now, if you change your list after I release the list so that everyone can view them, then there will be a penalty. So just be aware that if you have to make any last minute changes or if your lists are wrong. So again, lists are due tonight. If you have any issues, just send me an email at headjudge@frontlinegaming.org, and I'll take care of it. Next thing, um, as you know, we are using the Pariah Nexus missions because of the number of changes and corrections and FAQs that were put out. We decided to just start fresh with a blank slate in regards to our event FAQ. And luckily, people have been sending in questions for us to answer. At the time of this recording, all the questions should be answered, but at the very least, all the questions will be answered by Wednesday, the time of the release of the list. After Wednesday, there won't be any changes or updates to any of the questions. So if you saw any of the questions answered earlier, let's say in the last week or two, they could still be changed up until Wednesday. So after lists are unlocked, go to the frontline um, FAQ document, which the link is in the description, and and those will be updated, and they'll show the date that they were updated because this is the first event after the Pariah Nexus FAQ and Balanced Data Slate. Everything's on that first page where it says recent changes, because nothing's in any of the Army specific ones. Everything is on that recent changes page. So you just need to look on that one page to see if anything changed from either your question or an answer you saw that affects your Army. Now, if you happen to ask a question that didn't get answered or you can't find your specific question, I either answered it somewhere else or I toned it down because some of your questions, in all honesty, were kind of long, and I just broke it down to just the essential question. So your question probably was answered. You just don't recognize it because I didn't include all the stuff you wrote that was included in your original question. So be sure to check that out. Um, the other thing in regarding the FAQ, if you've been following the Tacoma or the Comp 40K group or any really competitive group, Games Workshop recently sent out a message saying that they are slightly changing the pivot rule for Tacoma, so we're going to do the same for LSO. And the change is that any models that are on a flying base do not have to I still have to pay the 2 inches for the to make the turn. So no more free movement if you're on a circular base that is larger than 32 millimeters. Um, so that just and if you're looking on the FAQ, it's really bold in yellow and red lettering where it says vehicle models on a round base that is wider than 32 millimeters with a flying stamp or hover stand still have a pivot value of 2. It doesn't affect too many models too much. It just reduces your charge by maybe an inch or two. You can still turn and get that bonus, whatever other bonuses you get. Everyone likes to mention the Tantalus, but I don't know how many Tantaluses we'll actually see there. I've only seen one in person in the last year. So we'll see what happens. That's the whole point of this weekend. This coming weekend will be a very good test of these new pivot rules in general. I've played against it. It's not too bad, but I haven't played against like a Raider or a Tantalus. So, I mean, but again, I don't see too many Dark Eldar players, to be honest. So we'll see how it goes. I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue, but you never know. Proof is in the pudding, so to speak. So just remember that with the pivot. If you're playing on a vehicle or flyer that's on a flying base or stem that is larger than 32 millimeters, you're still going to have to pay the 2 inches for the pivot. So also quickly, um, we are moving more towards a battle ready standard for painting. As an example, I'll post what my models look like. As you can see, there should be a picture of some of my models. Although it's not the best painted army or models, I freely admit, they are three color. More importantly, they are black, brass. There is some gunmetal. There's also the bone white, and then whatever wash I put on them. So that brings it up to basically battle ready standard for FLG's purposes anyway. GW is a little bit more, I think, but for our purposes, it brings it up. In addition, you'll notice that the base on my models is not black or bare. There is something on the base, and that is going to be a requirement going forward. We are not going to allow just blank bases or just painting the base. There has to be some type of texture on the base. And the only exemption from this are acrylic bases because that defeats the whole purpose if you paint over them, and pre-painted bases. So FLG, for example, sells bases, MDF bases that are basically printed on their terrain, just like their MDF terrain. So if you have that, then you're exempt from the requirement that it be a textured base. So, and other companies sell them too, so you can get them from there. And so you can easily um, get around that by using acrylic or pre-painted bases. But if you don't, they need to be at least some type of texture on them, not just painted over or spray painted with a base. So just in this instance, going forward, we are going to go around during round one and just look at everybody's armies and make sure everything's painted to the standard shown. And like I said, I'm showing, if you're watching the video, which everyone should, and you are, otherwise I wouldn't be talking right now, you'll see pictures of my army, my models, and you'll also be pictures from the GW version of Battle Ready. And so something in between there should be about that. No more painted like prime black, paint a shoulder, paint up a shoulder, paint a knee, armor, and then you're done. That's not going to cut it anymore. So it's got to be painted, uh, not completely, but enough uh, that it won't be obvious that you're just painting it just to get the 3 color standard, which is not a minimum anymore. So in this first round of the event, we're going to go around and look at all the armies. Just a quick look, nothing too deep, unless because obviously if you wanted it really looked at, you would have been in the paint judging. If it doesn't pass the standard, we're not going to remove the models unless it's we're not going to remove models unless the models are only primered or bare plastic. If it shows at least some paint on it but not enough, all we'll do, or the bases aren't textured, the only penalty will be you don't get the painting bonus. So the most you can get is 90 points in your games. So just be aware of that. If you don't have texture, it's very easy to get something that will texture your bases. GW sells. I think GW still sells some. There's plenty of companies that sell basing material that can easily uh, put texture on your bases. And you look at my models, my bases is a very simple method that I do basing for. It's not that complicated. So you don't need to go elaborate, but at the same time, you just can't have nothing on there. The last thing is just the always the regular reminder. Uh, you can register on BCP. You can check in up to 24 hours before the event starts. So starting Friday at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., you can start checking in the app. If you don't know, you go in the player app, you look in, there's a green button that says check in, you press that button, and that checks you in. Now, there's two check-ins. So there's the register check-in where you get your coin and your swag and whatever else you got, and then there's the BCP check-in. So remember, you need to do both, but it's more important to do the BCP check-in because you can do the register check-in with Kicker either Friday or Saturday, maybe even Sunday if you haven't gotten your stuff yet. But in order to be paired round one, you need to check in on BCP. And you need to do that before the round starts. Before I do pairings, I'll do pairings 15 minutes before the round is to start at the earliest. So there's plenty of time between Friday and Saturday to do that. Once you are checked in, you will be paired. If you did not check in, you're not going to get paired. If you are not paired, it's not a big issue. Um, Hopefully, you didn't come with your buddies. Otherwise, you're going to end up playing your buddies, to be honest. Because what ends up happening is you're going to get paired with other people who forgot to check in or just didn't check in at all. And that means you're just going to play them in that round. Once you are checked in, it's not a big deal. You're just going to you're back in the flow. Um, of the tournament, so the rest of the weekend should be fine. If you are going to drop during the weekend, final reminder, just remember that please drop in the app. Again, if you go into the player app, go to player details. There's a big red button that drops that says drop from the event. Hit that button and you drop from the event. Preferably, you should do it before I do pairings. Um, but if you happen to do it after you're already paired, that's fine. I can in 9 times out of 10, I can repair them with somebody else. If we have an odd number and you happen to have a buy, please check to see if you do have a pairing in the morning or the round when the round starts. Double check to make sure I didn't pair you because I'll most likely pair you with somebody, especially as people drop over the course of the weekend. But so just double check at that. So just a reminder: 6 rounds, 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and then awards right after. So other than that, I believe that's it. If you have any questions or any questions or anything like that, you can either leave a comment here or you can just send me an email. Again, it's at head judge at frontlinegaming.org, head judge at frontlinegaming.org. And I believe that's it for tonight or today, and I'll see everybody this weekend.